All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our webinar about the 2019 AmeriCorps VISTA Summer Associates Program. Today's call is being recorded, so if you have any objections, please feel free to disconnect. This morning's call will cover elements of this year's Summer Associate Guidance and also give you as sponsors a chance to ask any clarifying questions. And just one quick housekeeping rule before we get started. If you haven't already done so, please press *6 to mute your line. Do not simply press mute on your phone, because doing so will not block your line in the event that you have to put us on hold. We don't expect this to be a very long call, but I wanted to make sure we had some time left over for any questions, considering that we do have some new sponsors and supervisors since last summer. There will be a question and answer period at the end of the call, but please also feel free to use the chat box to ask questions during the call. With that, we'll get started. So, the Summer Associates Program allows existing VISTA projects to supplement their anti-poverty activities with an infusion of additional resources during the summer months. As many of you know, our summer associates, they serve full-time for either 8, 9, or 10 weeks. Something that distinguishes summer associates in the context of VISTA is that they can perform direct service activities in addition to capacity building. And year-round VISTAs may also serve as mentors and coordinators for the summer associates, though, of course, the year-long VISTA member role is not to be confused with the role of a supervisor. And finally, summer efforts combined with ongoing VISTA programming should result in a credible effort to help combat poverty. The Summer Associate Program is an opportunity to enhance an existing AmeriCorps VISTA project, and specific member assignments may vary, and you can consider an effective mix of direct service and capacity building activities. We have some examples on the slide here. A lot of our projects work with youth, providing mentoring, tutoring, and other meaningful activities during the summer. Summer feeding is also a key area. We also had a project last year work with folks recovering from disasters after Hurricane Irma. And then, of course, even though they're not limited to, summer associates can also do capacity building activities such as recruiting volunteers or doing outreach. In FY19, CNCS priority areas for summer associate programs are programming to expand the reach of opioid prevention projects, particularly with youth, programming to prevent summer learning loss for students, and programming to combat hunger and food insecurity, including USDA food service programs and senior meal programs. In addition, summer associate projects working with youth are required to provide 1 hour of substance abuse prevention programming each week. Billy, I know this is something that you've been spearheading for a number of years now. I was wondering if you wanted to add anything to that.
Absolutely. So I think one of the first hurdles that we battled when really trying to get into this area is grantees really understanding how they fit in this space, and even some being a little bit concerned about the topic being too old. But drug prevention can start as early as pre-kindergarten, because when we're talking about drug prevention, we're basically talking about character building, confidence building, decision-making skills, leadership. I have found some wonderful resources that I definitely will be sharing in the chat and will be sharing following up. But just some things that I thought you all should consider. Even when thinking about children in preschool and kindergarten who are motivated by a desire to please others, especially adults, and a desire to know how to do things, and a desire to be older than they are. We definitely have a real opportunity, particularly with our younger audience, to build some strong foundations for all future drug prevention efforts. Because at this age, children are definitely open to learning life skills that they'll need in order to accept responsibility for their actions, to resist peer pressure, to seek help with problems, and to respect themselves and others. It's important for them to understand who they can trust if they run into issues, it's important for them to even have self-love so that they understand that drug prevention, character development in general, is about ensuring that your own personal safety and health, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental health, is protected. So in thinking about what type of lessons you would do and what type of guidelines there are a few that we found to be helpful. You definitely want to focus on the present regarding things that young children know about or have already experienced. There are a number of young children who have seen their parents drink, who have seen family members or friends smoke cigarettes. There are children who are exposed to daily toxins and poisons in their everyday life. I know you all have heard about the Tide Pods fiasco, where young children were eating pods. I mean, in essence, you can even look at it as a perspective of poison control. So I don't want anyone to shy away from this space. I'm going to be sharing some really great resources, because what you're helping these kids to do, which is what many of you have already been helping them to do, is to help them improve communication skills, especially with their family and their peers. Give them an opportunity to build their skills in decision making and problem solving, helping them understand that everyone needs help or guidance sometimes, and that asking for help when it's needed is strong, positive behavior that should be developed by everyone. And then, of course, just providing some basic information about drugs and their use, and again, poison control. So we really feel like this is a place everyone can find themselves and operate within, and we are definitely here to support you if you're stumbling and you're not sure what tools are available or out there for you to use. But you know, our expectation, because of the nature of the situation and what's happening right now, not just across the country, but in Florida being the #1 state for drug overdoses, that we do our part to help reinforce the foundation of drug prevention for these youth. So we're looking forward to seeing what you all do this summer. You've been phenomenal in the prior years since we started this, and we want to see more of that.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Billy. And so one resource that we developed last year is this list of substance abuse prevention programming curricula that are available, and so that is on page 13 of the guidance. And then, as Billy mentioned, more general character development types of activities, working on confidence, leadership, self-love, that is also kind of falls under this umbrella as contributing to this important work. So next we'll talk a little bit about cost sharing. One thing that is important to know, particularly for our newer supervisors, is that the Summer Associate Program is contingent upon available resources, and submission of your application is not a guarantee of approval. This means that the Summer Associate Program may or may not happen every year, and the availability of slots most certainly will fluctuate from every year. Interested sponsors may apply to host a minimum of 5 Summer Associates. We do not have a strict upper limit this year. We encourage you to request the number of positions that you need and can successfully fill, retain, and manage. However, as always, resources are limited. Sponsors are encouraged to cost share at least 10% of their slots, because this is how we increase the total amount of resources that are available in the state of Florida. And 2 quick notes. Our standard is to place cost share members in the county with the lowest living allowance rate if you're a multi-county project, unless it's otherwise specifically requested by the sponsor. And if your project has sites outside of Florida, please reach out to me directly to request the living allowance rate of any counties outside of the state. So I won't go over the chart in detail, but it's included on page 3 of the guidance. And you'll notice that there's actually that this same chart for cost share is the identical chart for living allowances, because cost share is paying the living allowance of one or more of your VISTA or your VISTAs or your summer associates. All right, so moving from thinking about how many summer associates you need, another key consideration is when will they serve. So last year we offered 3 different start dates with a total of 6 options. This year, we're happy to provide projects once again with 3 start dates, but now we have 8 different options for your summer associate cohort or cohorts. So our start dates this year are Monday, June 3rd, Monday, June 10th, and Monday, June 24th. Another continuous improvement that we've implemented for this year is that we've already identified the selection deadlines for each of the events to better enable your planning as VISTA sponsors, especially those of you who are intermediaries. So for the first start date on June 3rd, the selection deadline is May 20th. For June 10th, the selection deadline is May 24th. And for June 24th, the selection deadline is June 10th. And as those of you with previous summer associate experience know, it's really important to have this time between the start date and the selection date, just in order to make sure that everybody's paperwork is all squared away. Just a friendly reminder, please be sure to mute your line if you're not speaking. Thank you. The key thing about the selection deadlines for the summer is the volume of placements that we're working with. I've already spoken with a number of sponsors who have expressed an interest in a really large cohort, and this is much larger than any regular VMO. Let me see if there's okay. All right. Sorry, folks. Just going to quickly mute everybody, except for myself. Okay, great. So because of the volume of summer associates that are being placed, we as staff need extra time to make sure that everybody's placed coded correctly, placed with the correct pay period, and then also if there's any paperwork that we need to work on, specifically relating to criminal history checks or citizenship and residency, it's crucial that we're able to have that time to collect that in a timely manner. Right, so moving forward with recruitment and placement. So summer associates must be at least 18 years of age at the time of placement. So this comes up sometimes. Someone might ask, well, I have someone who is 17 right now when I'm interviewing them, but they turn 18 a week before the start date. Is that okay? The answer is yes. The last day that they can possibly turn 18 is that first day. So if you have someone who turns 18 on June 10th and that's the start date, they can serve as a summer associate. Summer associates must also meet the same citizenship and residency requirements as regular VISTAs. So I've included a link to the VISTA FAQs that outlines that in a lot of detail. Summer associates must serve full-time on a full-time basis during the project period. Something that's a little different than standard VISTAs is that summer associates may not have outside employment during the project period. And finally, summer associates must not be listed on the NSOPW. It's important to note that the NSOPW is the only criminal history check that CNCS will conduct for the summer program. Summer associates do not complete FBI checks in the same manner as year-round VISTAs. Of course, many associates work directly with youth, so sponsors can, of course, at their own discretion, conduct additional checks. And then finally, as with previous guidance, we encourage sponsors to give priority to underserved youth between the ages of 18 to 24 in the recruitment and selection of their summer associates, in the hopes that this will lead to enrollment in either continuing education, employment, or participation in full-time national service programs. We happen to have a number of folks enroll from a summer associate position to a year-round position last year, and we hope to continue that this year. So please work with your summer associates to see if any of them are interested in serving in a year-round VISTA term after their summer term of service. So some additional recruitment and placement tips and resources. The guidance this year on page 6 includes some tips relating to interviewing applicants. And I just wanted to highlight this handful of recruitment time stealers, making sure that the youth select references who will be prompt in submitting the reference through the portal. And then these two I already mentioned, that if you have someone who's disclosing a criminal history, which again is not automatically something that prohibits them from serving, to get that documentation in advance. And we'll be sharing a copy of the criminal history justification form with folks who are awarded summer associates, just so everyone has that in advance if you haven't gone through that process before, so you know what documentation to request. And then also for citizenship, if you have a candidate who's not a U.S. citizen, to get a copy of their eligibility documents, such as their permanent residency card and their social security card in advance, keeping it on file. Again, this is really key because of the volume of placements that we're working with. Last year, we had a total of 227 AmeriCorps VISTA summer associates placed across the state of Florida, and those start dates were, everyone started about within a month of each other, so it was a lot of folks. And then an important thing to keep in mind with the citizenship documents, please do not email us directly any sensitive personal information, such as birth certificates, etc. What will happen is that your program officer will reach out to you with a secure link where you can upload the documentation and send it to us. Summer associate benefits. So there are some things that there are certain things that summer associates share with our year-round vistas, but there are a number of key differences as well. So summer associates are eligible for a living allowance. They are paid at the same daily rate as folks who are serving in that same county for the year-round. They're also eligible for a prorated Siegel Education Award or a cash stipend upon successful completion of service. So that information is right there on the screen. And so we highly encourage sponsors to kind of discuss this option in detail with their associates. And we definitely encourage folks, especially our younger summer associates who may be going back to school, to take advantage of the Education Award. We also have training that is a part of the benefits, and so training plans for summer associates must be specific to the assignments, including any skill training that is needed. All summer associates must attend a sponsor-organized on-site orientation and training, what we call an OSOT. When appropriate, the training should reflect collaboration with year-round vistas. You can find more resources for designing or strengthening your OSOT beginning on page 9 of this year's guidance. In addition, summer associates are eligible for leave on federal holidays observed by the sponsor. So, for example, everyone's term will include the 4th of July. Summer associates are also eligible for emergency leave, but as always, this must be communicated with the state office proactively and something that we have to approve in advance. And associates are also eligible for workman's comp and income disregard. So this slide highlights some key differences between summer associates and our regular vistas. So summer associates do not receive the following benefits: relocation allowances, any health care benefit, child care allowances, or non-competitive eligibility. In addition, we really want to emphasize that summer associates are not eligible for personal or sick leave in the same way that our year-round vistas are. Supervisors may arrange for limited 1 to 2 day absences that may be made up by serving extra hours or extra days. If you're having an attendance issue with a summer associate, the key takeaway is communication. Be proactive. Reach out to your program officer. oftentimes issues that are affecting attendance, they could be something that would make the summer associate eligible for emergency leave. So please do reach out to us as soon as you have an inkling that there might be an issue, and we'll be able to work with you. But unfortunately, if there's another situation that comes up, maybe a summer associate needs to take a week off in order to complete an academic program, we do not allow that, and that would be cause for the summer associate's termination. So this really links back to recruitment and making sure that you're incredibly clear with your summer associates about all of the benefits, including the living allowance and the living allowance rate, but then also some of the constraints and flexibilities that associates are not eligible for, such as personal or sick leave. And reporting. So sponsors will report on summer associate measures as part of their scheduled progress report. In addition, our office may request periodic updates during the summer. So some common areas of performance measures are education and healthy futures, economic opportunity as well, but you're not limited to just these areas. It's something that we'll work with you after award decisions are made. So we'll be providing more detailed guidance about performance measures after the award decisions are made. And in the meantime, you can encourage everyone, if you haven't already been working on a continuation for this fiscal year, to please familiarize yourself with the FY19 AmeriCorps VISTA performance measure instructions. They are a significant update from previous years, and it's been great to work with sponsors with them. And then finally, to wrap up my portion of the presentation, just wanted to highlight some key dates. So the guidance was released last month, and the concept paper deadline is next Friday. The link for accessing that submission page is included in the guidance. A week later, on the 15th, we'll notify approved summer associate sponsors. And then from there, we have staggered the subsequent updates and deliverables that we need from our sponsors. So on March 22nd, that's when approved summer associate sponsors will submit their VISTA assignment descriptions in eGrants. So go ahead right now, calendar in some time that week after March 15th to be able to enter your VADs into eGrants for your program officer's approval. So after the VADs are approved, the summer associate opportunity listings are to be submitted no later than March 29th in order to be able to start recruitment in a timely manner. And then once recruitment is all up and running, we'll turn our attention to the application amendment in eGrants. And that's because it's key that we have the right number of slots in your application in the system. Otherwise, we can't place all of your applicants. So that's just another key administrative piece as well. So let's see, we have a question from Mary. If we have our listings and VADs entered on the 23rd, when can our applicants apply? So that as soon as your program officer approves your VADs and your listings, that's when you're able to apply. So part of the reason why we have kind of staggered these in the VADs, the listings, and the amendment like that, and we staggered it in order of priority, also to make it a little bit more manageable, so so things move kind of more quickly. So I mean, if your VAD is ready before March 22nd, go ahead and submit it. You know, a lot of our folks, you know, you'll have multiple VISTAs serving under the same VAD. And so that is completely acceptable that you have the same VAD for multiple people. So these deadlines are no later than. Feel free, you know, no earlier than the notification, the award notification. But as soon as someone hears that they have a successful application, feel free to start submitting those materials. And then just wanted to highlight again the selection deadlines, that they are May 20th for the first start date, May 24th for the second start date, and then June 10th for the final start date. Let's see. So Mary was asking, do we need different service listings for each partner site? I think it depends on how differentiated the positions are. You know, if a member is doing something really different for Gadsden County Public Schools and then a very different activity for Leon County Public Schools, I think it would make sense to have separate listings so applicants are clear about what they're applying to. But if it makes sense that they're separate in separate parts of the state, the VADs are the same, but the sites range from, if the VADs are the same and the activities are the same, then you can have one listing. That would be fine. All right, and then now we'll move along to questions. I muted a couple of people on the line just because we were having some background noise. So if anyone wants me to unmute them, please let me know. But so feel free to type in questions in the chat, or if you're able to unmute your line yourself, feel free to do so. So Mary, let me know if my answer wasn't clear enough. But yes, if you have sites with very different activities, separate VADs, separate listings. But if you have the same activities having in multiple sites, it's fine to use the same listing. Cool, we have some questions coming in. So great, I'm glad, Mary. Let's see. Back to the 1 hour of substance abuse prevention programming. Can this include developing presentations for local PAL or YMCA groups to present at the end of their service time? Yes, I think that's great if they're taking on, I'm assuming the presentations are relating to substance abuse. And yes, if they're, that would be great. Yeah, I think one of the greatest ways to learn something is to teach it. So, that's great. Alexia, yes, thank you for chiming in. That disaster recovery is also a priority for those involved with the Michael recovery. And yes, we do love service learning. So we're really excited for this summer. We are, Alexia and I have both been to this rodeo at least once between the two of us, and then our new colleagues, Melissa and Julius, are also really eager to support a really strong and robust summer. So, we're really, really excited for folks' proposals and the conversations that I've already had with a few folks, and the level of interest in this program is really great. So, let's see. Anna, did you still have a question? I saw you typing. So, all right. Any other questions, either via the chat box or over
it's Anna.
The phone?
I got unmuted.
Hey. Oh, okay,
Sorry.
excellent.
I'm on the computer and the phone. I was just I kind of answered my own. We're doing some service learning, obviously, this weekend for Hurricane Michael, but we're putting together a program that involves multiple colleges for the year. So it's something we're looking to do even next year with that priority.
That's excellent. Thank you. Awesome. Well, great. Do we have any other questions in the chat box or over the phone? All right, well, excellent. Well, as you're working on this, again, recognizing that Summer Associates is a little bit different than the year-round program, please do feel free to send me an email if you have a policy question about Summer Associates. And then also, if I'm not already your program officer, please CC your program officer just so they're kind of in the loop on the question. So yeah, we're really excited about a strong summer. So thank you all so much for joining us this morning. Hope you have a great Friday and weekend.